Hello children, welcome to NEET WORLD. This is Narayani, I am your foundation faculty. So in yesterday class, we discussed about the protozoa and its nutrition and about its reproduction we discussed. Right children? So today we are going to discuss about the differences between the bacteria and fungi, and also we mainly discussed about the fourth category of the microorganisms, it is algae. Right children? And before we are going to start the session children, so here took a very important news for you children. We are starting the summer camp course after every 15 days. The second batch is started in the yesterday, before yesterday onwards, which means 15th April onwards. Right children? So our main motto is the concepts all covered based on exams of NEET and JEE. Based on the concepts of NEET and JEE, we are covering the syllabus of physics, chemistry, biology and mathematics. And main important thing children, we are giving you the courses based on the CBSE and SSE. The mode of learning is through English medium children. The all classes are first 1 week classes are free children, and mode of learning is through digital panel. We are creating a wonderful animations and videos to get the concept to be understood for you. And children, the main one thing is we are giving you the one-on-one doubt clearing sessions. You will get one-on-one doubt clearing sessions very efficiently. Okay children, so before that, and also we are giving you the 2 days of activity based learning, and also we are providing you the quizzes for every 1 week, and the mode of learning is through digital panel. You can see wonderful videos of the concepts from the basic level to the higher level concepts. You will understand very clearly by the help of videos. And children, and most importantly, the career guidance is given for you. What you want to become, to achieve goals, what kind of exams you have to write. Right children, you have to know each and everything in detailed way. Right children? So this is about our summer camp course children. It is started from every 15 days. The before batch is started at 2 days before only. So if we want to join, it is from both offline also and online also. For offline people, you can happily come to our institute name called NEET WORLD, present in Hyderabad, Narayanguda near metro station. Those who want to go through the online, down streaming number is there no children, contact with that number with us. Then we will access you the classes with our app name called MedWorld children. This is what up to our NEET WORLD summer camp course. It is available for the upcoming students of 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th. So it is very useful for you children. The first free basic classes are free, 1 week classes are totally free children. So be contact with us, and I will see you all of you in the classes. So this is our course details about children. So let's fastly recap the yesterday class. So we discussed about the nutrition of the protozoa, and we detailedly discussed about the reproduction of the protozoa. So fastly we discuss the nutrition and reproduction children. The nutrition types of protozoa is 3 types. What are they? Heterotrophic, which means they are dependent on other organisms, and next they are parasitic mode, they exhibit parasitic mode of nutrition, and also autotrophic. Autotrophic is the best example is Euglena. Euglena is also said to be a mesotropic nutrition. Why? It exhibits in the presence of light. In the presence of light, it exhibits autotrophic nutrition. In the absence of light, it will depend on the other organisms for the food, like bacteria, like children. So this is the interlink between the plants and animals, which shows the mesotropic nutrition children. The answer is Euglena. Euglena shows the mesotropic nutrition as by the convenient of the light, right? So this is about the autotrophic and parasitic mode nutrition, means which depend on the other organisms for the food and shelter and absorb nutrients and cause harm to the host. So this is about the parasitic mode of nutrition in protozoa. The examples is Plasmodium and Trypanosoma. And coming to the heterotrophic nutrition, they are dependent on other organisms. They cannot make their own food materials. Like the best example is amoeba, right children? It is irregular shape, it does not have any cilia and any flagella. So the cilia having in which protozoa cilia is having, the example is Paramecium. In which flagella, in which protozoa Flagella is having, the euglena is having the flagella, right children? What is the function of the cilia and the flagella? They are helps in locomotion, which means movement. They help in movement. The cilia, so we also discussed the differences between of the cilia and flagella also, right children? So this is the habitat. What is the habitat of the protozoa? They are mainly grow on water bodies, moist soils, inside animals and humans also. Their shape is irregular, oval, round and elongated. Irregular means amoeba, fixed shape means paramecium. It is how it is look like children, slipper shape, right? And oval and round, elongated, which means elongated means euglena. Round and oval shaped example is plasmodium, right? So the nutritions of 3 types, what are they? Heterotrophic, parasitic and autotrophic, right? So here coming to the reproduction, they mainly continue their own species with the help of asexual modes. What are they? Binary fission. With the binary fission, the amoeba and paramecium are the good examples. What is the binary fission? It splits into 2. In that, parent individual cannot be seen. Coming to the, see, this is the example of the binary fission in amoeba, right? The nucleus is elongated, then it make the copy of 2, and then after the division of the nucleus, it is followed by the division of cytoplasm. And coming to the multiple fission, several nuclei formed inside the cell. So several daughter nuclei will be formed, and it is covered by the cyst, right? So when it is it will happen under unfavorable conditions. So let's fastly summarize this. So binary fission process splits into 2. How many daughter amoeba will be produced in the binary fission? 2, right? It splits into 2. Example is amoeba. Under favorable conditions, they are going to divide like that. They continue their species like this way. And coming to the multiple fission, one splits into many. Only one splits into many. Example is plasmodium. And it is occurs in favorable conditions? No. Under unfavorable conditions, the multiple fission happens in the plasmodium, right? Coming to the paramecium also exhibits the exchange of DNA between organisms. Conjugation it is a sexual mode of reproduction. Example is paramecium. It occurs in unfavorable conditions only. Mostly occurs in favorable conditions. They follow the binary fission only. Okay. So coming to the differences, we also discussed the differences between cilia. Cilia has short hair-like structures present around the paramecium. See here. These are short hair-like structures present in the paramecium. So flagella is long whip-like structures. They are little longer. They are exhibits like whip-like structure. So coming to the number, there are the many cilia are present on a cell. See, they are numerous in number. There many are present. Coming to the flagella, they are usually 1 or 2. They usually 1 or maybe 2. It will be or one short one will be there, or else one will long one. Coming to the length, they are shorter in length. Cilia are very shorter in length. Coming to the flagella, they are very longer in length. Movement, their paramecium exhibits the rhythmical movement. The cilia helps in the rhythmical movement, which means they are travel. They will move. What is the function of the cilia and flagella? Locomotion, nothing but movement, right? So they will move like this. So they will move like this, like a rhythmic of oars. In boat will be there, no? The oars will be, they will, pushes water backside, right? So this is how the cilia works. And coming to the flagella is forms like they'll swim. They move like a wave-like nature and wave-like motion, which means they swim. Coming to the function, they help in movement also and feeding also. For to observe the food, this feedia helps in the observation food also and movement of and also for locomotion. Coming to the flagella, they help in movement. For the movement, it will helps in movement, right? What? Flagella, right? Examples what? Example is paramecium is moves along with by using cilia, they move. And also if it is any food is there, available food is there, it will take it. Coming to the flagella, by using the flagella, what it will do? It locomotion, it helps in the locomotion. This is the structure of flagella and these are the structures of cilia. They are small hair-like structures, they are long whip-like structures, right. So, and also this with the help of this oral growth children, the paramecium obtain food and water and then it converts into the food vacuole. With the help of enzymes, it breaks down, it breaks down the complex substances into simpler substance and absorb the nutrients to its body, right children. This is how the cilia, this is how the absorb the food materials by the paramecium. Coming to the amoeba, amoeba don't have any cilia and flagella, right. Then how it will take the food? When the food is there, it will extend its, it extends its corners, that we call it as false feet. That false feet in biological terms we call it as pseudopodia. So, they extend its feet and that food is present in the vacuole. Then with the help of digestive enzymes or the breakdown enzymes, it breaks the food and absorbs by its entire body parts and utilizes it for its energy. Whatever the waste material will be there, that will be going at the corner of the amoeba cell. Then it what will we do? It ejects us out, right children. This is how the food mode absorption happens in amoeba. So, coming to the today's session children, see here. So, we are discussing about the what are the differences between bacteria and fungi. Till now what we studied children, we studied about the bacteria, right, and also fungi and also protozoa. So, the next category is algae. Before we going to that topic, we will discuss this topic. So, what is the major differences in bacteria and fungi? 1 minute. Okay. So, see here children. So, bacteria are unicellular organisms, right. Bacteria are unicellular organisms, they are single celled organisms. Coming to the fungi, they are mostly multicellular. We discussed they are mostly multicellular organisms. Some are unicellular organisms. The example of unicellular fungi is yeast, right. The remaining mostly we see in the fungi is multicellular organisms. So, the cell wall is made up of peptidoglycans. The cell wall of the fungi is made by chitin. What is children? Chitin. So, the fungi of bacteria is made up of peptidoglycans and the fungi of the cell wall of fungi is made up of chitin. The cell wall of bacteria is made up of peptidoglycans, but lacking organelles and organized nucleus. They doesn't have the cell wall, there is no nuclear envelope to cover the nucleus. The nucleus is scattered in the cell. The nucleus is scattered in the cell. So, see, and also any cell organelles, like we can't see any cell organelles. And coming to the fungi, they absorb and decompose what they from the where they will get food by decomposing or absorbing organic materials on which they grow. So, see, they are unicellular organisms and they are multicellular organisms. Mostly they are multicellular, fungi is mostly multicellular and some unicellular. Example is yeast, but bacteria are mostly unicellular only. So, they are microscopic. So, the cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan, the cell wall of fungi is made up of chitin. They are doesn't having any organelles. So, they are absorb food by decomposing and absorbing organic material on which they grow. So, coming to this prokaryotes, the bacteria come under the group of prokaryotes. What is meant by prokaryotes? Prokaryotes are single celled organisms. We categorize it as the prokaryotes. Fungi come under the group of eukaryotes. They are multicellular organisms, come under the group of eukaryotes. So, they are unicellular organisms. Here the mostly are multicellular organisms, right. 1 minute. 1 minute children. I hope all of you visible in this table. Okay. See, the size of the bacteria is 0.5 to 5.0 and the size of the fungi is up to 2 to 10 nanometers. Coming to the favorable pH, the growth of the fungi is to 6.5 to 7.0, and favorable pH, the growth of the fungi is 4 to 6. They are different shapes. The fungi is of, bacteria is of spiral shaped, coccus and bacillus, and the mostly fungi is seen in hypha. What is meant by hypha? The long slender like filaments, we call it as hypha, right? And also yeast. So, yeast are single celled organisms of the fungi. Their common morphologies. What is meant by morphology? The external features we consider as a morphology, right children? So, some use flagella to move. In bacteria, some use flagella to move. They are immobile organisms, which means they are not, they don't have any flagella and all that. They are immobile. They can't move. So, next coming to the cell wall is made up of peptidoglycans. We already discussed the fungi of the cell wall is made up of chitin. The cell wall of the bacteria is made up of peptidoglycans. The genetic material is localized in nuclei of the cytoplasm. So, if it is the bacteria cell children, the nucleus will be scattered in the cytoplasm only. The nucleus is scattered in the cytoplasm only. So, we should not see any nuclear envelope covering this nucleus. So, the genetic material is localized in the nucleus of the cytoplasm. Here the genetic material is localized in the nucleus, which means having the nuclear envelope around the nucleus we seen here, and it does not, bacteria does not contain membrane bound organelles. They does not contain any membrane bound organelles children. So, these contain membrane bound organelles, right. So, these contain 70S type of ribosomes, these contain 80S type of ribosomes. Bacteria contain 70S type of ribosomes, and fungi contain 80S type of ribosomes. So, the reproduction happens through binary fission, asexual reproduction method. So, here the fungi reproduce through the both, mostly they used the asexual modes, sometimes it uses the sexual modes, right. And the mode of transmission of bacteria through contact of the body, fluids, water, insects or air. And coming to the fungi, the transmission occurs through spores. The example is hypha, the bread mold. We call it as rhizopus. When they are dispersed, what will happen children? Under favorable conditions, when you are placed in the ground or else the moist content areas or the bread and all that, we can see the cotton appearance like structure. It is nothing but the bread mold. And another mushrooms having the both cap-like structures and also umbrella-like structures. The cap-like structures and umbrella-like structures having the slits, sills, and they contain pores. When they are dropped into the ground, and mostly in the moist seasons, they are able to grow, right. And eatable mushrooms having the many nutritional vitamins, right children, selenium, vitamin B6 and vitamin B12. This is up to the, the differences between the bacteria and flagella, fungi. See here children, the cells of the fungi and bacteria looks like this children. So, here see some of the differences here. So, here see the nucleus is randomly present in the cytoplasm, right. This is the cytoplasm. This is the cytoplasm children. In this cytoplasm, the nucleus is randomly scattered. So, that we call it as nucleate. The nucleus does not covered by any nuclear membrane and nuclear envelope. So, that is we call it as nucleate. The genetic material is localized in the cytoplasm. So, see here, the nucleus is covered by the nuclear envelope. See, this is the nucleus, and again it is covered by the nuclear envelope. So, this is how the difference between the fungal and bacterial cells, and it does not having any cilia or flagella and like that, but here having the cilia. See, the bacterial cell having the cilia, it sometimes having the flagella also. For the locomotion, it used to, with the help of the flagella, they used to move from one place to another by the requirement of the favorable conditions or for the food. And here the cell wall is there, and fungal fungal cell also, in fungi also cell wall is there. The fungi of the bacteria is made up of peptidoglycans. The cell wall of the fungi is made up of chitin. Right children, the fungi is made up of chitin. So see here, many membrane bound organelles are there, lysosomes are there, mitochondria is there, vacuole is there, right, rough endoplasmic reticulum is there, peroxisome is there, Golgi apparatus is there. These are the cell organelles. We call them as cell organelles. So see here, there is no any membrane bound organelles are not there. Here only the ribosomes are there, right? Here the 70s type of ribosomes are present in bacteria and 80s types of ribosomes are present in fungi, right? Only ribosomes are present here, and the extra chromosomal material, we call them as plasmids. We call them as plasmids. The extra chromosomal circle like structures present in the bacteria, we call them as plasmids, right? This is what the major differences between the bacteria and fungal cell. So the nucleus does not covered by any nuclear envelope. Here the nucleus is covered by nuclear membrane, right, and nuclear envelope. And coming to the and it is scattered, and it is that in the nucleus present in the fungi is not scattered, and they have the many membrane bound organelles like mitochondria, lysosomes, rough endoplasmic reticulum, peroxisomes, Golgi apparatus, and all that there. Coming to here, bacteria cell, that does not have any membrane bound organelles are not there, right children. So here having the in bacterial cell, they are having the 80s type of 70s type of ribosomes. In fungal cells, they are having the 70s type of ribosomes. So this is up to the major differences between the bacteria and fungi. We by children, by the differences, by the comparisons, we will remember more information. That is why I chose to tell you the differences between the bacteria and fungal cell. So this is up to the differences between fungi and bacterial cell children. So coming to the today's topic, so algae. What is algae? Children, algae is the term, they are simplest plants, we can say. They are simplest organisms of the plants. They resemble plant-like structures. They are simple plant-like organisms. So you will see in ponds, streams, the ponds look like algae, which means they appears in green in color because of the algae children. So before I am going to say this in elaboratively children. So I will explain briefly about what is algae. So the algae having both unicellular algae and multicellular algae. Unicellular algae means they are they are single cell algae. So the examples of the single cell algae is Chlamydomonas and Chlorella. The examples of the multicellular algae is Sargassum, Spirogyra, Volvex, Fucus. These are all examples of the algae. Algae. They are categorized into two types. One is unicellular and another one is multicellular. The unicellular mostly attached to the cell body is like thallus. What is meant by thallus? Thallus is nothing but the body is attached to the subastrum, which means they attach to something they want it. They like a bark of trees or else the moist stones. In that areas they will mostly the unicellular algae will be seen. They attach to the subastrum. Coming to the multicellular algae, we can see with the naked eye, because as some are we can see with the naked eye, some are we can't see with the naked eye. Some will be there should be macroscopic also. So children, how many types there are there? There will be unicellular and multicellular. The unicellular mostly microscopic and multicellular maybe mostly we can see with the naked eyes. So by the unicellular organisms they are maybe rod shaped, club shaped or spindle shaped. There may be rod shaped, club shaped, spindle shaped. Based on the arrangement, they are by the they are filamentous. The Spirogyra is the example of filamentous. For the filamentous algae, the example is Spirogyra. For the colonial, the example is Volvex. In multicellular algae, children, for the filamentous, the example is Spirogyra mostly, and the colonial, the example is Volvex. So, see here, the algae is mainly divided into unicellular algae and multicellular algae. The unicellular algae examples are Calamidomonas, Chlorella, and coming to the multicellular algae, the examples is Sargassum, Volvex, Spirogyra and Fucus. In that multicellular algae, the filamentous like structure is present in the Spirogyra and the colonial forms seen in the Volvex. Right. So, now we will discuss what is, these are the all, if they ask the question like write the examples of algae, you can write all of this. Not like unicellular algae, you can write like this. There are two types of algae will be there. One is unicellular and another one is multicellular. The unicellular examples are Calamidomonas and Chlorella, and multicellular algae like Sargassum, Spirogyra, Volvex and Fucus. So, see here what they is given. 1 minute. So, if they ask the algae, to define it, the term algae refers to the simple plant-like organisms that have cell wall and chlorophyll within the cells. The main differences between the cell and animals are cell wall. So, animals doesn't have cell wall. Animal cells doesn't have cell wall. The main characteristic features of the plant and animal, the differences is the animal cell having the cell wall and the plant cell having the cell wall. And we discussed till now the bacteria having cell wall. Of course, bacteria having cell wall. Right? Fungi having the cell wall. Is the protozoa having the cell wall? No. Does the protozoa having the cell wall? No. The protozoa doesn't have the cell wall. The animal cell and the protozoa doesn't have cell wall, and coming to the plant, bacteria, fungi, they are having the cell wall. The bacteria cell wall is made up of peptidoglycans, and fungi cell wall is made up of chitin, and plant cell wall, or for the plant also cell wall is there, is made up of cellulose. So, this is what the difference between the main animal cell and plant cell, children. So, for the animal cell the cell wall is not there, and the protozoa also the cell wall is not there. So, that is why the main difference between the protozoa and algae is the protozoa having the cell, doesn't have the cell wall, and the the algae having their simplest plant like structures, they have the cell wall. So, the examples are Spirogyra, Calamidomonas, Fucus, Laminaria. This is how they looks like, children. So, coming to its habitat. See what is meant by habitat? Home. Where they grow, where they can survive, right? So, algae can be found usually in moist habits, which means they require moist habits. They are found in various types of moist habits. They are like puddles, ditches, right? Ponds, rivers, lakes, streams, oceans, etc. The puddles looks like this, children. The ditches are the narrow like canals. We call them ditches, and this is how they looks like, children. So, some algae are attached to the rocks. Some algae may be attached to the rocks because the body structure of the algae is mainly they are attached to the unicellular algae attached to the subastrum, which means they are attached to the subastrum. So, other float in water. Some will be float in water also. We will mostly seen in day to day life in the canals like. So, the large algae that grow in the oceans are called seaweeds. The large algae, this is the large algae grow in the deep of the oceans. We call them as seaweeds. Seaweeds means unwanted plants. The sea doesn't require the unwanted plants, and the variety is known as kelp. So, these we call it as also kelps. We also called as kelps, right, children? They are easily found in moist habitat. They live in puddles, ditches, ponds, rivers, lakes, streams, oceans, etc. Some algae attached to the rocks, while some other float on the water, and the large algae grow in oceans. We call it as seaweeds. They are the varieties, we call them as kelps, right? So, this is the habitat of the algae, children. See, so we will learn some more other points from the habitat. Some are found in the bark of trees like this. This is the bark of trees, the green, it is attached to the bark, no children, that is nothing but algae. By using this, you know, the bark, with the help of, they are attached. The bark of the tree grow within plants and animals also. The bark means it is a plant, right? With the, on the sloth bear also we will see the attachment of the algae. So they attach to the particular organism. Some of them also show symbiotic relationship. What is meant by symbiotic relationship? Some of them show, they are saying that some of them show symbiotic relationship. What is meant by symbiotic relationship, children? So symbiotic relationship, nothing but the beneficial, the mutual benefit happen. Okay. So some of they shows symbiotic relationship. What is the example of the symbiotic relationship? Lichens. So lichens are shows the lichen, the algae shows the, you know, symbiotic association. So lichen having both relation, they are between two organisms, right? What is the, you know, involved? What are the parties involved in that symbiotic relationship? That there should be two, there should be two parties should be involved. In while studying the crop production management, we discussed about the nitrogen fixation plants, no children, leguminous plants. In that what we said, in the roots of the leguminous plants, the nodules are present. In that rhizobium, bacteria is present. The two different parties are involved, present. They are, they are showing the symbiotic relationship, right? So by that they are benefiting. In that also two parties will be involved in the symbiotic relationship. What are they? See, between algae and fungi, you know, known as lichens. The relationship between the fungi and algae, we call them lichens. So these are the very good pollution indicators. The way the pollution area is more, the lichens will not survive in that area. So these are also called as pollution indicators. So a thin green film seen on the surface of the lakes. Sometimes we see the green layer, like, you know, the water appears like green in color because of the algae. We will see that is a green water. It is like a green film throughout the water, right? In ponds like streams and all that. This is because of the green algae. So for this reason they also called as, for that reason we also called as grass of water. For that reason we call it as algae as a grass of water. And here, you know, 70% of the earth carbon dioxide is fixed by the algae, children. So 70% of the carbon dioxide is fixed by the algae. So coming to its shape and size, some of them are unicellular, of course we discussed. So some of them are unicellular and they are microscopic, while other are multicellular and quite big. Some are quite big also will be there. So they size up to, the unicellular algae, they are up to the size is 1 micron to 15 meters. So the unicellular algae is microscopic, some are multicellular also. Coming to the unicellular algae, they are up to 1 micron to 50 meters. And coming to, they are the microscopic algae includes Spirogyra, these are all unicellular algae. And you know, 1 minute, it is a multicellular algae only. So it is few, you know, Calamidomonas, Fucus, not Fucus is also, Calamidomonas and Chlorella unicellular organisms, children. Coming to the macroscopic, so we can see the naked eye, the kelps. We are in the previous slide we studied, no children, the kelps, the seaweeds. They are very long, up to 7 meters, up to 180 meters the algae will be long. So that we call the seaweeds, these are the kelps. So the laminaria of algae is 7 meters long. How much it is long, children? 7 meters long. And macrocystis and macrocarpa found in attain size of 180 meters. They attain up to 180 meters height. So here, so these are the kelps. What is the name of this kelp, children? Microcystis, macrocarpa. This is the example. The seaweed example is, you know, it is a macroscopic algae which we can see up to 180 meters it will be grown. The name of the, you know, the seaweed is macroscopic example is Macrocystis macrocarpa. So unicellular algae having the thallus like structure, which means they attach to the subastrum, and some multicellular algae may have leaf-like, root-like, stem-like structures also. Example, fucus, sargassum. So it is exactly appears like root-like, stem-like structures. Those we call it as multicellular algae. The unicellular algae mostly attached to the substratum, children. The multicellular algae we can see at the naked eye, and their root-like, maybe stem-like structures will be there. Example is fucus and sargassum are the examples of the multicellular algae. And the large macroscopic algae seaweeds, example is Macrocystis macrocarpa. So coming to its shape, children, there may be variety of shapes. There may be spherical, rod-like and spindle. There may be spherical shaped, spindle shaped, or maybe club shaped. So there are variety of shapes, and multicellular algae occur in various forms such as filaments. The filamentous example is Spirogyra. And also children, Spirogyra is very good example of fragmentation. So we will discuss in reproduction. So the example of filamentous algae is Spirogyra and branches. Some algae live in colonies, for example Volvex. This is the Volvex, children. So they are in colonies. Example is Volvex. So if they are filamentous, the example is Spirogyra. There are variety of shapes. They are spherical shaped, spindle shaped, or club shaped, or rod like shapes. They appear different kinds of shapes. So see, if they ask what are the unicellular algae, you can happily write the examples of Chlamydomonas and Chlorella. These are the examples of unicellular algae. And coming to the multicellular, the fucus, Polysiphona, they are the multicellular organisms. All multicellular algae. Colonial is Volvex. They will mostly give these type of questions and match the following questions, children. So you have to remember. First, remembering is very important. So multicellular filamentous algae is Spirogyra and Ulithrix. This is the Ulithrix, children. This is the see. The unicellular algae, the example is Chlamydomonas and Chlorella. Multicellular algae, the example is Fucus and Colonial. The example is Volvex. 1 minute. This is the Volvex, children. 1 minute. So this is the Volvex, children. It exhibits the colonial shape. Coming to the multicellular filamentous algae, example is Spirogyra. The example of this is Spirogyra and Ulithrix Okay. There may be appear in different colors also. The algae also appears in different colors also. By that pigmentation, what is meant by pigmentation? Pigmentation is nothing but the characteristic color provided to the particular plants or algae and all that. The color is nothing but due to the pigmentation only, presence of pigments only, they appear like in that color. Besides the chlorophyll, children, the algae having different types of pigments also. They include the brown, red and green color, etc. This is because of the other than chlorophyll, they also contain pigments. The mass green color of chlorophyll make them appear red and brown colors. This is up to the today's session, children. We will discuss some other topic, what is the structure, cell structure of the algae, reproduction, what kind of nutrition they are, is present in the algae. We will all discuss in the tomorrow session, children. So this is up to the today's session. I hope you all clear about the today's session. If any doubts, children, please comment in the comment section. I will clear all your doubts. Before I am winding up the class, children, I would like to announce a very important news for you. We are starting the summer camp, children. So the first batch is started from the April 1st onwards. After the next batch is started from the April 15th onwards, children. So if you want to join with our classes, you can happily come to our institute name called NEET WORLD by the offline mode. Present in Hyderabad, Narayanguda near metro station. Those who want to go through the online sessions, So, you can contact with the below number, there is no children, will contact with that number and will give you the access of the classes. And the first 1 week classes are free, children. If you want to join to our classes, contact with that number. And the main motto of this summer camp is started, after every 15 days we are going to start the new batch. So, you can join with that batch also. And the main motto of our foundation summer camp is to give you the very detailed concepts of both NEET and JEE examinations. The topics are covered based on the exams of NEET and JEE. The subjects covered by us are physics, chemistry, biology and mathematics, and mainly one-on-one doubt interaction sessions will be provided by us for you children. And also, we are creating the quizzes and cumulative assessments and all that. So, you will get a great learning here. Our mode of teaching is through digital panel. We are creating the wonderful animations to get the concept to be understood by us. So, this is our main foundation batch is starting. So, you can contact with that number. And also children, the mode of learning is through digital panel only, and you can get good knowledge with this foundation course. Those who are eligible for this foundation course is 6 to upcoming students of 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th. So, I hope all of you clear aware of this important news. So, thank you children. Let us meet in the next session.